Hey there, friends! My name is Desiree, aka Mama Friendly, and I'm trying something a little different this year when it comes to our homeschooling. All of the main information is going to be found in the very first video of this series, which I'll link up here in case you've missed it. But the Cliff's Notes version is that I've been homeschooling my son his entire life. He's 9 years old and on the autism spectrum. He has nonverbal autism along with a few other medical diagnoses. My son also has a complete and absolute undying love for all things Disney, much like his mama. So this year I thought it would be fun to give our unit studies a little bit of a Disney twist. So every 2 weeks this year we're going to start a new unit study based on a Disney ride, movie, character, etc. We're going to be doing our academic work around that theme, but also at least one cooking activity and at least one art activity. So in these videos, I want to show you guys some of the things that we do to fit the theme, and I have a Pinterest board pertaining to each of the themes. And so along with every single one of these videos, there's going to be a link in the description box to that particular theme's Pinterest board. So make sure that you check those out because I am only showing you some of the things that we're getting into every week, but the board is going to have more activities and also activities for kids of different ages and different abilities. So with all that being said, let's get into our theme. This is so fun! I've never seen the Disneyland version. It looks like Wilderness Lodge. And this is a very shaky camera. Oh, there's his outdoors. Other than the outdoor segment, it appears very, very similar to the one that we have in Disney World. But yeah, I found a full ride through. This is the Disneyland version, obviously. And here's the Disney World version, which replaced the Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. I actually remember when that happened, and while I was researching for this video, I realized that this version of the ride, the Winnie the Pooh version, has been around since the 90s. So that's wild to me that I remember a time before it. But yeah, it's basically the exact same ride as in Disneyland, although ours looks darker for some reason. But maybe it's because their outdoor loading area lets more light into the ride. Otherwise, it looks very, very, very similar. And if you look to the left in this room, which they're choosing not to do that, you can see a picture where Mr. Toad is actually handing the deed over to Owl. So it's a cool little Easter egg. This is the last version of a Winnie the Pooh ride I was able to find internationally, and it looks somewhat similar, but it's obviously quite different because it's a trackless ride, and this is at Tokyo Disneyland. The animatronics on this actually give me more of a Splash Mountain vibe, which is pretty cool. And of course it is trackless, which, if I'm not mistaken, there's only 3 rides in the whole of Disney World, literally in the world, that are trackless. So this is one of them. Mystic Manor, which is the Parisian version of Haunted Mansion, is another. And the new Ratatouille ride, although actually I think the Beauty and the Beast ride that we saw in Tokyo is also trackless. So there might be 4 now. Hey friendies, we're getting ready to do our art activity for this week, and I thought that it would be very fun and simple and easy to make our own honey pot. And all we're doing is using a mason jar. Well, this is actually a leftover spaghetti sauce jar. But I got paint. I showed you guys what kind and color I got here. We probably should have done the bottom part first. I was worried that if we did the darker color first, the yellow wouldn't show up as well. But it turns out that these types of paints, I shouldn't have worried because they come out just fine, even if you layer a lighter one over a darker one. So this was nice though, because it kind of made like a drip effect. But we did have to be careful then doing the bottom part because we wanted to, or I wanted to, paint around the drips so that we would still have drips on it and it would look like the honey was coming out over the top of the jar. And we just let it dry. Once it dried, I used a Sharpie and maybe don't do that. I was hoping to draw the word honey onto it with the Sharpie. What ended up happening is that I used the Sharpie to remove the paint and it ended up ruining the Sharpie. It looks great though, the finished product, but you know, now I'm down a Sharpie. So keep that in mind. But now we're going to use this jar to hold the markers and pens at our homeschool table. So it's really cute. Much excitement because we're gonna make some allergy friendly Winnie the Pooh honey corn muffins. So we've got our gluten-free flour here. This is my favorite kind, with our xanthan gum because this blend does not contain it. You're also gonna need baking powder, chocolate chips. These are Enjoy Life brand, so they're allergy friendly. Cornmeal, apricots. Both the chocolate and the apricots are for decorating at the end, which I will try my best to make them look cute, but no promises. Ripe banana, I need one, but I've got two, so there you go. Honey, oil. It says to use vegetable oil to keep it allergen friendly. We are not allergic to coconut, so we're going to go ahead and use this. Same for the almond milk. The recipe calls for rice milk, which would have made it completely allergen free, but we do fine with almond milk, so we're going to go ahead and use almond milk today. And as you can see, there's no eggs, there's no gluten, there's no soy, there's no milk. So yeah, completely, if you follow it exactly as it's directed, completely allergen free. And of course, as always, I'm going to have a link to the original recipe in the description box, and the recipe is also in the Pinterest board that pertains to this theme. We're going to begin our recipe with our oven preheated to 350, and then I am lightly spraying my silicone muffin cups in my silicone muffin pan so that nothing sticks. Now, you're supposed to do this in a separate bowl. I figured my large measuring cup would do just fine because the only thing I really had to measure in here anyways was the flour, so 2 for 1. You're gonna need a cup of your gluten-free, nut-free, all-purpose flour. I ended up putting a little too much, as you can see, so I just scooped it out before adding anything else. And once you've got that, you're gonna add 3/4 of a cup of cornmeal. You need 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So these are all your dry ingredients, and you're just going to mix them up in either a separate bowl or your very large measuring cup. So in my actual large mixing bowl, I'm putting in my 1 banana. It says to use a medium to large ripe banana, and the recipe says to use a hand mixer to mash it, but you can mash it with a fork probably just as easily. If you mash it long enough with anything, it will basically liquefy, and I did not want to dirty yet another appliance or bowl, so I'm going analog style with this. Once your banana is mashed, you can go ahead and add a 1/4 cup of oil. Like I said, you can use vegetable oil like the recipe says, or we're using coconut oil. And you're also going to want to add a 1/4 cup of honey. Pro tip, do the oil first and then use the same cup for the honey, and that way the honey will just slide right out without sticking. You're going to mix all of this together briefly, and then you're going to stir in 1 cup of rice milk. Once all your liquid ingredients are combined, you're going to go ahead and add your flour mixture to the banana mixture and stir just until the batter is evenly blended. Your batter is ready to become muffins, so now you're going to scoop all of that batter into each of the 12 cups. I ended up having a little extra at the end, so I poured the leftover into a ramekin and just threw it into the oven along with the rest of the muffins. It's time to bake at 350 for 20 minutes, although truth be told, mine needed 30. They stayed a little wet in the middle after just the 20 minutes. Once they're perfectly cooked, you can take them out to cool, and while they're waiting to cool, we're going to start the decorating process. So we've got our apricots here, and as you can see, the picture shows them kind of like cute and yellow. Mine are brown, and I got the right ones, trust me. So I ended up splitting them in half and using the inner bits because I figured it'd be lighter and closer to the real color. You could probably do this easier if you have like piping tips for icing. I do not, so I used a paring knife. Let the grown-ups do this because it's not the safest thing. So I did my best to cut a little snout shape and little ear shapes. I kind of rounded the ears a bit more so that they wouldn't be too pointy. And then I took my gluten, dairy, soy, everything free chocolate chips, which by the way are delicious. I really like this brand. And I just put a little nose and little eyes and made a little Pooh bear. Isn't that adorable?
Oh, that is so cute.
It's a Winnie the Pooh. But they're honey muffins, honey corn muffins. See?
It almost tastes like a banana.
It has banana in it, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Yay! Alright friends, that's going to wrap up our Winnie the Pooh themed homeschool video. Winnie the Pooh has always been my favorite Disney character. My very first birthday party ever was Winnie the Pooh themed, and while I was cleaning out my closet a couple weeks ago, I found my backpack from the 7th grade and it's Winnie the Pooh. So it was really special and it meant a lot to be able to share these characters and the movie, etc. with my son. I was cracking up watching the movie. He did not find it as funny as I did, but he did enjoy it. And it's one of our favorite rides at Disney World. The muffins were really, really good, and I appreciated that the recipe was already allergen friendly because usually I have to modify whatever recipes I find, and this one was ready to go right from the jump. And my son really enjoyed painting our honey pot, which now I'm going to get to use to hold our pens and markers, etc. for our homeschool table. So overall, this theme was a lot of fun. It was really enjoyable, and I'm looking forward to finding even more Winnie the Pooh themed activities to do with my kiddo. If you're looking for other activities too besides the ones we did here, I'm going to be posting a link in the description box to the Pinterest board that pertains to the Winnie the Pooh theme. And anytime that I find any other new activity or recipe, whatever, I always add it to the boards even after we're done with the theme. So the boards are constantly evolving, and I try my best to make sure that there's stuff in there for kiddos of all ages and all abilities. So I hope you'll check it out. Let me know which activity was your favorite and if you're planning to do any of these with your kiddos. And summer's right around the corner, so I hope that you'll check out my other Disney homeschool videos. They're a lot of fun and they're a great way to make sure your kiddos don't lose too many skills in that summer slump. Maybe share them with other friends that have families. It would really help my channel out. It's free to you and I appreciate all of the support. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I hope you'll please give it a big thumbs up. I'd also love it if you'd subscribe and click that notification bell because I post at least 3 times a week and I wouldn't want you to miss a minute. Thanks so much again for watching. Bye!